Hi everybody, thank you again for joining me today. We are talking about spiritual warfare and talking about how we can practically fight this war that is in the invisible realm. I hope that this is beneficial to you. Last week we had a look at some of the issues that we learned from the life of that hero, that great king David. We found out that he had some clay feet as well, and we learned a little bit at his expense. But what a great opportunity to talk about that stuff. I want to take you to yet another biblical character today, and for the next couple of days we're going to look at what we can learn from a great character called Joshua. Joshua is the guy who took over from Moses, took the children of Israel across the Jordan River into the promised land. This is the land that God had said was the land flowing with milk and honey. This was the land that the Israelites would call their own, because as a wandering nation, they needed a place to be home, and this was their home. Now, there's some great lessons we learn from Joshua. One of the first lessons we learn from Joshua is that there are enemies in the land. You see, some people think that the land flowing with milk and honey should be exactly that you just walk in and everything's going to be hunky-dory and it's all going to be amazingly lovely. Well, as much as there are elements of truth in that, we also find out that there are enemies in the land. God said to Joshua, you need to take the land. You need to get rid of the enemies that are in there. All those Amalekites, Hivites, Hittites, and Girgashites, all those ites, they need to go. And so Joshua systematically moved into the land to take over the place. Now the first battle that he had to fight with was at an ominous city called Jericho. Jericho had high walls, it was well protected, and you can read this in the book of Joshua. Go and read it, it's a great story. And he looked at this and he said, Lord, don't you think we should start with something smaller? This is going to be one heck of a thing. How are we going to defeat Jericho? It's a walled city. We don't have great armaments. We don't have the wherewithal physically to do this. And God reassured Joshua to say, don't worry, this is my fight. You just let me fight on your behalf. And Joshua said, well, what do we have to do? And God said, just do what I tell you. And so he said this, he said, I want you to walk around the city once a day for 6 days. On the 7th day, you will walk around 7 times. And then when I give you the signal where you surround the city and you just shout and you worship and you sing. And Joshua thought, is that all? Is that all I have to do to win this battle? And God said, that's pretty much it. And then you could go in and take the city. So in obedience, Joshua did just that. People didn't understand it. I'm sure that there were those who were the wise ones among them who would have criticized his strategy, but he did it anyway. For once a day, they walked around the city. On the 7th day, they stood around the city, and with their trumpets and their singing and their worship voices going, they sang and they shouted. And you know the story. The walls came tumbling down. You see, there's victory, people, that God ordains, that happens, that is his fight. Don't try and fight God's fight. You know, you're going to lose every time. God says, stand back. This is my battle. Many of the fights that we fight in the spiritual realm, we fight with our own human wisdom. We fight sometimes in our own strength. And God's saying, no, don't do that. Don't do that. This is my fight. Don't you want to stand back and allow me to show my power and my glory if you'll just stand back and let me do the fighting on your behalf? So they did that. And we see the beauty of the victory that took place. You know, when Joshua, I'm sure, deserves some credit for what he did. Credit is one thing, but glory is another. And God will often give credit to certain people, but don't touch his glory. It belongs to him. And so we see how God orchestrated that this great victory would take place. People, have a look at your lives today and just see if there are fights that maybe you shouldn't be fighting. Maybe these are fights way beyond you, and you're tempted to try and fight them with carnal weapons of warfare. We know we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers of darkness in high places. You're not going to fight those with physical means. So I encourage you today to check out, first of all, what kind of war you're fighting. In the physical realm, it's very important that we fight the right fight and the right time. If you try and fight a conventional war in a terrorist war situation or a guerrilla warfare thing, you're going to get whipped. So you've got to find out what kind of war you're fighting. Allow God to fight his battles. When he gives you an instruction, he will equip you, or maybe even say, stand back, this is my fight. That would be so cool. Try and work on that one today. Have a fantastic day, people. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.